Hello and welcome everyone to the National Veterans Small Business Coalition Charlie Mike series brought to us by our generous sponsor BAE Systems. And as you know, this is our debutante ball into our bite-sized trainings. And with us today is Anatalia from Kanda Consulting, and she is here to kind of wrap up our number 4 series, or our number 4 session, I should say, on proposals. So it's been so much fun, Anatalia, to have you be our kickoff person with regards to this series. And so I'm excited to hear about what we're going to be covering in snippet number 4.
Thank you so much, Marie. And I have to say, I'm truly honored to be hosting this mini series of bite-sized trainings for NVSBC. In this video, we're going to talk about the team structure needed to create winning bids. But first, I'm Anatalia Macik, founder of Kanda Consulting. I've been in the business development or BD space for over 15 years. I've supported large integrators, small 8As, emerging large businesses in environmental engineering, IT disciplines, security detection, and marketing and communications for international, commercial, and federal clients. And that is quite a mouthful. So you can imagine there are very few types of bids, types of customers I've not supported. I've also hired, managed, and mentored proposal teams from as small as one other person to as large as over 20 people spread across the country. Building high-performing proposal departments, say that 5 times fast, it's not just my specialty, but it's something I truly enjoy and am really passionate about. So with that, let's talk about building your proposal team. When building a successful response team using internal employees, the roles and responsibilities need to be clear up front. This is probably the number one issue I hear across companies. Something else that is less often discussed but equally impactful are the attributes of a successful team. So let's look at those first. Communication is a vital skill for proposal development. The internal team has to be able to communicate with each other, to provide leadership updates, and even communicate with external partners and clients. If good communication doesn't already exist in your team, consider trainings and activities that will help foster this foundational attribute. Having the right communication tools and an understanding of how each should be used also helps a lot. Set up a plan for when to use email versus messaging tools. When do meetings need to be held versus memos sent out? Getting your communication in place is always the first step to a high-functioning, high-performing team. Next, your team not only needs to be able to problem solve, but they need to be empowered as well. Throughout any proposal development lifecycle, problems, issues, challenges, whatever you want to call them, they will arise. It's important that the team or individuals responsible for developing solutions not only have the critical thinking skills, but also have the authority and support of their leadership to be able to implement those solutions. If your team or individuals on the team feel like they must have decisions made through committees or various channels, that's going to slow down problem solving and it's going to decrease innovation. I'm not saying everyone should be given carte blanche to make their own decisions about how to solve problems. There should definitely be communication when there is an issue. There should be an escalation process as well, and solutions should be reviewed prior to implementation. But teams do need to feel empowered to go through the process and think critically independently. That falls into decision making. So team members should have guidance on what decisions they can make on their own. A decision matrix is helpful. And as I mentioned, an escalation plan for higher level decisions that need to be made. When everyone knows who's responsible for making what decisions, it can make the process go a lot smoother and a lot easier and eliminates a lot of confusion. So maybe part of your communication SOP is a decision-making matrix or authority matrix to help clarify who makes decisions at which level. Another important part of proposal development life cycles is adaptability. Because every customer and every solicitation is unique, there are going to be times where your process needs to adjust. Your communication plan may need to adjust any number of things. So, having team members who are adaptable is going to be critical to the successful implementation of any process, to strong communication, and to ultimately a strong, cohesive team. While we're adaptable, we do try to work from a plan. The idea is strong planning gives us a guiding light for how we need to work. We're adaptable when we need to be, and we solve problems that arise, but our team needs to work from a consistent, standardized plan, and they should have strong planning skills and understanding. One final attribute I'll touch on is trust. A high performing, high functioning team trusts each other. Typically, this comes from leadership down and is developed through communication, empowerment, and a strong understanding within the team of the goals and mission that you're all working towards. Building trust can take time, but if you have the processes and determination to create a trusting environment, it can be done and it can be fostered and it can continually evolve as your team evolves. So, ideally, there is one person responsible for the overall process, communication, and essentially keeping all the ducks in a row. This is typically a proposal manager. The idea is they should not also be a writer or reviewer or have other tasks related to content development, unless it's a really small, easy lift. You want your proposal manager to be able to guide the process, answer questions, and hold all the contributors responsible. The proposal manager should have someone they can escalate issues to. I like to call this an executive sponsor. The executive sponsor can make final decisions on the solution, pricing, staffing, etc. They should be involved throughout the process. So, someone in a leadership role who can dedicate time to the opportunity is ideal. There will also need to be a business development or sales or capture person. If your company is big enough, all three are great. If not, at least a BD or capture person will be the main point of contact for customer and competitive information. Because of their understanding of the competitive landscape, they're usually best suited to facilitate solution development as well as identification of resources to support the bid and resources to include in the proposal. Pricing and contracts are two roles that go hand in hand for me. Both roles should be involved from the beginning, though the level of engagement is different for each. Pricing is working closely with the executive sponsor, BD, program leadership to develop the winning price. They may use some debrief information that's been collected as well. Contracts review the solicitation in addition to managing the process for teaming agreements. It's also industry best practice for contracts to submit any proposal responses, including questions to the government contracting officer. It is ideal to build the contracts to contracts relationship as early as proposal submission. Lastly, there will be a number of rotating contributors. By rotating, I mean these individuals likely change for each opportunity. Whereas your proposal manager, BD, capture, pricing, contract staff, they're all more likely to be consistent. The rotating roles may include technical subject matter experts, program leaders, or even consultants brought in to support. If we look at this a different way, we can see the lines of communication. For everyone involved, the proposal manager is the main POC and ultimately responsible for a compliant and timely submission. However, the entire team supports the development of a winning submission. In this image, we have a map for the proposal development team. Again, the proposal manager is the main POC, but each area, capture, pricing, contracts, even the executive sponsor, may have additional communication with each other or ancillary team members to provide updates or solicit input. Understanding the lines and flow of communication is key to removing bottlenecks and silos. You can even use this slide as part of your proposal development process and as a guide for the roles of each proposal response. I like to include a similar slide in my kickoff deck and align it to the names of each person playing each role. You're setting expectations for what it takes to develop a proposal response. But if you have a small company, it's possible not all those roles exist. or some people play multiple roles. So perhaps you need to augment your team with consultants or specific tools. Hands down, the best way to find a consultant is through a referral. If you have a good proposal manager that you like and trust, ask them which consultants they would recommend. However, you pick a consultant, once they're on board, it's critical that they receive a brief training on your proposal approach, the tools you use, and who's who. Another reason to have the process and roles and responsibilities documented. It's also helpful to lay out expectations early and even document them. And this can be your expectations for their support as well as their expectations to successfully work on the bid. It's a two-way street. And even if you've worked with a consultant before, it's great to lay out expectations for each opportunity. I've worked with one consulting firm for almost my entire career in BD. Over the years, I've been able to establish a relationship, and they clearly understand my expectations and standards when I reach out for support. Having a strong relationship with a consulting firm doesn't guarantee you'll always get the best fit. It does, however, mean that when the fit isn't right, you can communicate that more easily and establish new standards for their next assignment. When I do work with a consultant, whether they're independent or if it's through an agency, I always ask them to tell me their feedback on our processes, communication, procedures, etc. Who better to give you an objective perspective than someone who works across companies and industries on proposal development? I also provide them feedback and answer any questions they may have about their performance. This fosters trust and establishes a relationship for future work you may do together. Another approach when you're short on resources is to implement proposal development tools. There are many. There are a lot of tools on the market, and I feel like more are created every single day. There are two that I've used which significantly increase my efficiency and reduce my manual activities, but each company and each team is different. So finding a tool that works with your existing tools is easy to implement and learn and provides an effective solution for your needs is what's most important. This slide highlights the most common tools and their general capabilities. My two recommendations are Rohirrim's Rohin tool for content generation. It's tailored specifically to proposal development and makes drafting initial content, solutioning, and outlining more efficient. My second recommendation is Visible Thread. It's such a comprehensive and robust tool. From the capture phase to proposal development to contract management, VT Docs helps teams quickly analyze and prepare for opportunities. Their VT Writer tool now generates content as well as providing analysis on existing content. Now, while none of these tools can take poor content and turn it into a winning proposal, for that you need customer knowledge, a tailored solution, and a strategic price. But they do help streamline your process and make it simpler for whatever size or shape your team is in. So, looking at some common pitfalls as we wrap up this session. First, not budgeting for bids is a huge issue. When you prepare your annual budgets, consider the resources and tools needed to successfully bid on new opportunities. Add into that budget training because even experts can continue to learn as the industry continues to evolve. With more and more oral presentations and even video submissions, the traditional proposal manager has to adjust their prior approaches and processes. Continuous training supports this. Hiring someone who's been a proposal professional for 20 plus years does not mean that you're going to get the best candidate. Look outside the proposal field for people with backgrounds in collecting and disseminating information. The skills are fairly broad, and there are many people I've hired who never worked on a proposal before, and they've since become some of the best proposal managers I know. Look for all the skills it takes, not just certifications or years of experience. And continue to evaluate the team structure and process you have in place. To truly scale, frequent review and analysis is needed to make sure you're keeping up with industry trends, if not setting them. But that's it for me. We've reviewed the internal team structure and best practices for working with consultants or selecting the right tools for your team. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Thank you again, Anatalia. This series was amazing. And I think we've discovered a new platform for the NVSBC membership. And so I'm so looking forward to getting these up on LinkedIn and having Janelle, our engagement director, get this pushed out to our community. So everyone give a big shout out to Anatalia and BAE Systems for their generous sponsorship of the Charlie Mike series. And with that, I'm going to say ciao for now.